The train from Brussels Midi to London St. Pancras was a 2-hour trip and cost us €133, the most expensive train of the journey yet. Crossing into the UK feels different immediately. English. You can read the signs and understand the train announcements, restaurant staff, and so much more. However, since the UK has left the EU, it is important to note you have to do the security and customs procedures before boarding the Eurostar. In our case, this was in Brussels. The UK also uses the pound, not the euro, so spend your euros before arriving in the UK. We arrived in London, and London in winter demands structure. We stayed in the Soho area, which was slammed with visitors. This was an exciting place to have quick access to and made the crowds worth it. We didn't have a dinner reservation and were denied at our first choice. Additionally, our backup place was also slammed full, but they were able to get us a spot at the bar, learn from us, and make reservations ahead of time, especially in popular areas such as London. Things I would recommend visiting in London: you have to see the changing of the guard at Buckingham Palace. It's highly likely you're going to want to visit Buckingham Palace anyway, so check the schedule online and see if you can see the changing of the guards as well. We definitely recommend getting there at least an hour early to get a good spot. We arrived about 30 minutes early and were instantly met with a huge crowd. They also already had the roads closed, so we couldn't get too close. If you get there early enough, try to go to the Queen Victoria Memorial. It's an elevated area and you can walk around the statue a full 360 degrees to see the parade as it comes in, and then switch sides to see the palace side. Next on our list, Kensington Palace, Princess Diana's residence. This is an amazing walk from Buckingham Palace through Hyde Park and Kensington Gardens. Next to Kensington Palace is the Orangery restaurant, and I highly recommend you stop in for high tea. Choosing the high tea option, you'll get unlimited refills on your tea, biscuits, sweets, and savory sandwiches. This is an ideal spot for a late lunch and some tea sampling. I should let you know now though, it is pricey, but it's worth the experience to feel like royalty for the afternoon. When we were there, we saw a lady playing the harp and truly felt like royalty. Next, with another elevation recommendation, the London Eye is a fun experience. Although if you've done one of these Ferris wheels before, you might want to skip it. In addition to the views of London, you'll also be across from Big Ben, which is another place we recommend seeing. I'm not sure what it is about it, but the clock is just something that always sticks out to me as traditionally London. Another great recommendation is the Don's Lenore restaurant. Here, you eat in complete darkness. The experience is to help you empathize with people with visual impairments and to elevate your other senses. Honestly, this experience was so unique, I struggle putting it into words, but it is something that I highly recommend to anyone. They operate in several other cities, including Paris and Brussels, so you don't have to only do this in London, but it's worth putting this on your radar. Lastly, you'll want to check out some of the historic pubs, and maybe even do a historic pub tour. We thoroughly enjoyed our tour. We got to try Cask Ale, which I'd never heard of. It's a beer that's not pumped from a keg with carbonation, but pumped manually. This causes the beer to have a flatter taste. The British love it, but I'm not quite sold on it. Some of these pubs were absolutely incredible and have been open for well over 200 years. My favorite was probably the Ye Olde Cheshire Cheese, which again, for the literary people, Charles Dickens had been known to use the establishment frequently, and it is alluded to in A Tale of Two Cities. So what changed in London? Tap to pay on the metro made easy riding and no need to purchase a 2-day pass or deal with a ticket machine. Lots and lots of tourists, even more than Paris. We stayed in an Airbnb in the Soho area. The location was fantastic, but the apartment left something to be desired. London accommodations were some of the highest prices we'd seen on our trip. I'm sure we could have found a nicer place, but for the price and the location, I guess we can't be too upset. London is exciting, but draining. The key insight here, your energy is part of your budget. London can fill your day effortlessly, but if you don't control that, winter fatigue sets in fast. London works best in winter with short daily goals and intentional rest windows.